It's a goal! Can you believe it? It's extraordinary.
Tonight on Footy SA, we show you some damning vision of Port Adelaide's loss on Saturday night. The Crows lose no admirers in Geelong, but where to now for the out of sorts Bryce Gibbs? Showdown week, Showdown 47, massive show coming up. Let's get into it. Welcome to Showdown Week right here on Footy SA. Huge show coming up, and one man that knows all about showdowns. He's a showdown medalist himself. Bernie Vince joins us. Bernie.
Good to be here. What are your thoughts on my beard?
I don't mind it.
Yeah, get there.
How long's it taken?
4 weeks.
There you go.
Can you see it?
Let's start us off, not with your beard, but with the big Kia moments from the weekend. Kia has been voted the West Australian Car of the Year for their V6 twin-turbo Kia Stinger. Moment number one started on Saturday night, Bernie. It was a horrible night for Port Adelaide. Wet conditions, and it was the crucial errors, particularly in the third quarter, that cost them. Have players forgotten how to play wet weather footy?
Well, yeah, you don't, with the roof and stuff at Marvel now, you don't get exposed to it as much, but there's no excuses for trying to play sexy footy when it's pouring down. I haven't seen rain like that for a while in a game. Just got to do the basics, don't you? Knock it forward, soccer it forward, and Bulldogs were better at it.
So you can see the time here. Third quarter, Port Adelaide were coming. The inside 50s, 10-1 at this stage. Cleary does the turnover. Straight after that, Burton does a left foot millionaire's kick that once again they turn over. Cost Port Adelaide the goal. They go in 2 goals down at three-quarter time, and it was pretty much game over from then on in those conditions. Yep. Ken Hinkley at quarter time was rightfully filthy. We'll see vision of him next. But let's take a look at some of the players. Oh, here he is. Here's Ken. He's not happy at quarter time, and rightly so. You'd have to think they got ahead of themselves after that win against Geelong last week.
Well, looking back, it's easier to say that, but to give up crucial goals like that, that's worth, each goal's probably worth 2 or 3 in conditions like that. That's why he was so filthy.
I reckon he's got a big issue on his hands, Ken Hinkley, and that is the amount of inside midfielders on his list. There's some names there. You can chuck those in and they'll be all vying for a spot again this week. But the mix is all wrong, Bertie. You can't have those 6 running around in the same midfield. I reckon 2 at most. We saw on the weekend Wines, Boak and Drew didn't work. Wines and Drew had no influence on the game whatsoever. So he's got an issue as to which players on that list miss out this week.
Yeah, how much of this is about mental preparation? Because you touched on that a little bit, and so did Ken Hinkley. What's happening? I
don't know, but it's been an issue for 4 or 5 years. This isn't an issue that's just bobbed up this week. This has been a problem for a long, long time. Last year they were 11-4 at round 15, sitting pretty beautiful.
Flying.
Missed the finals. They're 11-4 at round 15. They win 1 more for the rest of the year and missed the finals.
Do they get ahead of themselves?
They must. They must get ahead of themselves. Tom Jonas held a press conference with Crows co-captain Rory Sloane today, and he was asked about just that.
We feel like we've been really consistent. Our training standard's been great for a long time. Our mental mindset, at least outwardly, has been exactly the same. We're approaching the games, you know, the way we did the week before against Geelong, and then to dish up a first quarter performance and, you know, a whole game performance like that, it's become a little bit baffling. And obviously we don't know the answer right now, so we're just working on what we can control.
Well, they should have found the answer. Part of it's to do with their ball use. Bernie, I think they're one of the more the worst kicking teams in the competition. I think they're ranked 14th for kicking efficiency this year, but part of it is clearly mental preparation. So they'll bounce back this week. It's a showdown. The boys will get themselves up. They've gone win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So the logical thing to say is they have a win. I'm not sure it's going to be that easy, but I'm not sure what is going on inside of the head of the coach and also the leaders of that footy club.
Yeah, well, inconsistencies they've proven that they've done that all year, so they need to work that out real quick. Otherwise, same thing as last year. They'll promise all these things and then fall out at the last moment. So need to sort it out quick though. The season's finishing real quick.
Yeah, and they need to sort it out this week because there's some teams coming. I reckon North Melbourne and Sydney are coming, and perhaps even Western Bulldogs make a run for the 8. So it's not unrealistic to think Port Adelaide missed the 8. Let's go to Friday night. It was a pretty strong performance from Adelaide. They led by 20 points at one stage away from home, where they haven't won since 2003. But in the end, it was a lack of opportunity for the forwards and the lack of the forwards being able to deliver. Before the game, I said you needed 7 between Betts and Walker. Unfortunately, they only got 1.
Yeah, well, you can see the time there. Halfway through the second quarter, the score's 20-46. As you said, 20 points up. come out of the blocks really well. Surely would be really happy with where they're at. Only, I think it was 3 goals to 10 after that moment in time. So that's what they'd be disappointed about. Big tick about their start and can match it with the best team in the comp at the moment. But some disappointing areas too in the second half.
Yeah, so it wasn't just Walker and Betts that failed to fire. You go through all their forwards, and part of it is clearly the lack of entries that they had. But Davis in his first game, you're not going to expect too much from him, but he looked off. Gallucci was poor, Douglas the same, and Himmelberg kicked 2 goals but didn't have a major impact on the game. So Jenkins had said he's probably just going to miss this week, but good news, he'll be back for Gold Coast, but geez, they're going to welcome Tom Lynch back this week.
Oh, big in this week. And did they play Fogarty? Did they give him an opportunity? I can't see why he's not playing at the moment. There's injuries, there's people out of form. Surely if he was going to play, it's now. It's
a really good point. To think that Darcy Fogarty, who played 10 last year in his first year of footy and looked good. Had some big moments.
Physical.
He's aggressive is what they need. He kicks a big goal. Yes, he's still got some areas to develop, but to think they've overlooked him for Davis on that night is a big question mark.
Big call.
A massive question mark for the development at the Adelaide Footy Club. Also an issue for them is the form of Bryce Gibbs. His yo-yo season has continued. He came back into the side for Friday night, probably on the back of Ellis Yeoman withdrawing late, but this is not the Bryce Gibbs that we have seen for 12 years. He is completely out of sorts, Bernie.
He is out of sorts, and I thought he was probably a bit harshly done by the first time he went out of the team, because I think he was coming off a game where he had 24 or 25 possessions, a couple of goals. I thought it was a bit harsh, but since that point in time, he's been in and out, as you mentioned, and he hasn't really set the world on fire. He goes back and plays well at the SANFL, but he's not the player he used to be, that's for sure.
Which is a massive issue for them. He's got a couple of years left on that contract as well. Let's take a look at Bryce Gibbs' numbers and the way that he has fallen off this year, and it's pretty alarming, really. This is against Geelong in the third quarter. He didn't even touch the footy, but just the 8 kicks, 5 handballs, 13 disposals, 1 mark. And I guess the issue for Adelaide is they don't exactly know where to play Bryce Gibbs. He's slipped out of the midfield. He's been a bit of half-back, bit of wing. Played a tagging role, but certainly hasn't found his feet amongst that Adelaide midfield where we thought he would come in and play a vital role. So you think he loses his place. This week, Bernie is at the Plasma for our favourite part of the week. It's the Kia Top 7, home to Australia's best. 7-year factory warranty. The biggest 7 moments from this week.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a flat start with both our teams losing. So I'm going to do my best to get us back up. Righto, let's fire away. Let's get this going. Now, quick pick update for the Adelaide Footy Club. Slipped out to pick 2 after what a win from Carlton over there.
It's a double blow.
Oh, it's a bang, double blow. Photo of the year, photo of his life, didn't your dad say this was?
Dad said that's one of the best footy photos he's ever seen.
Very good photo, like the rain in the background. I can see where he was going with that. Not sure about this. Fiving an umpire. You allowed to touch an umpire?
D-Rod's a good man.
OK, we like it.
Yeah,
we like it. Play on.
Yeah.
I'm going to lift it up, and I'm happy with that. Right, the seed. What about some of the goals he's kicked this year?
He was their best player.
From downtown a couple of times. Well, maybe not. We'll get to them in a minute. No, he played very well, but he's just kicked some good goals this year. Speaking of long goals, we've forgotten about this guy, the Cannon.
Oh, McKenzie.
The Cannon McKenzie.
Yeah, he's
what about that for a goal? That goes out of the screen.
He kicked the footy over the whole Alan Scott Power headquarters.
That was 80 metres. Yeah. That's Malcolm Blight.
Good to see him back.
What about this little tweet, whacking you? Hey, old mate Kane Corns, you wouldn't know the first thing about Hawthorn supporters. You're not even, what was that, Victorian?
Fair
of course he's not. He's South Australian. We don't want to be Victorian.
Disgraceful.
Anyway, I'm sticking up for you there. What about this? I go into the SEN headquarters. We've got Smart. We've got all these guys here, Dalsano. Kane Corns, did you steal your own photo? Do you love yourself that much? You stole your photo, hung it up at home, signed it probably to yourself, and I don't know what you've done with it. Give it to your kids or something. What's happened?
Caught red-handed, outstanding. Bernie, heaps more coming up, including that shocking vision from Saturday night's game for Port Adelaide. We're doing it all thanks to the barista-made C Coffee. Go into OTR and pick yourself up one. It's magnificent. Any time of night. We'll be back soon. Thanks for your company on Footy SA. It's now time to get into the OTR takeaway. Now you can kick goals and tackle life problems close to the siren with OTR and their 24-hour convenience. Look away now if you're a Port Adelaide fan. And when coaches say, we didn't come to play today, you hear it from players often, Bernie. We didn't come to play. I'm about to show you what exactly not coming to play means. It was Port Adelaide on Saturday night. It's wet. Let's roll the vision. This is a millionaire kick in the wet. Adelaide's never seen so much rain. He's trying to do a round-the-corner kick. Missed tackles. The Bont was on fire. Have a look at Butters there. Missed tackle. Extra inside 50. Mark inside 50. Score against for Port Adelaide. This is the turnover from Butters again. Chest mark in the wet. Not concentrating. A simple mark you take 100 times out of 100. This one here from Motlop. Motlop would want to look away now. What do you do there, Bernie? You pick the footy up. Watch what Motlop tries to do. Toe poke, free kick against. Western Bulldogs get the ball and they exit. The pressure is released once again because Motlop didn't want to pick the football up. This is not coming to play. Kane Farrell, he's got the ball. Fumble, simple fumble. He's thinking about what he's going to do before he actually does it. Once again, missed tackles. They're out-tackled by 32. Farrell, Caleb Daniel, missed tackle once again. Once again, ball goes inside 50, turnover from Cleary, goal against. This is wet weather footy. Port Adelaide didn't cope with the conditions. This one we're going to freeze once again here. Who wins that ball? Is it 200 centimetres Laddams or is it Bontempelli? Missed tackle once again. Now the ball goes in. Port Adelaide are going to win it back and Ryan Burton on the left foot tries to hit that in the wet. Where's that going to go? Well, only to the Western Bulldogs. That's a goal against. Game over. Port Adelaide did not come to play on Saturday night. One man who did, though, and he's been in very, very good form, is Hamish Hartlett. He was outstanding in his third game back, Bernie.
Very good. Very good on Saturday night. Not coming to play, that's an attitude thing for me.
Yeah, especially in this weather.
Yeah, and you just got to do the basics. But Hamish Hartlett, since he's come back, very good. I love his physicality, his courage. They should jump on the back of this guy that's been out for so long and follow him because he does things very well, and especially in conditions like that.
I think when you miss so much footy, you understand how much it means to you. Now, he's playing like a guy who doesn't know if this is going to be his last game. He's putting it all on the line, and it's inspirational for a person who's missed 12 months of footy. So he was the highlight for me, and no doubt he'll feature in the votes a little bit later on. Tom Rockcliffe was back. And would you believe it, in the SANFL, 57 possessions, which is a record. We've gone into the record books.
A lot.
That is an equal record with the great Daryl Hart.
Daryl Hart?
From North Adelaide.
That's a long way back.
In the 90s.
Number 3 for the Crows.
On the night, Daryl Hart kicked 6 and had 57. So it's just shaded Tom Rockcliffe. But look at that, 14 clearances. He's had 12 tackles, 8 inside 50s.
That's a game.
You reckon he would have been handy in the wet on Saturday night?
I think he might have got the 3 votes.
I think he might have got the votes. Yeah, let's roll the vision. Unfortunately for North Adelaide and Josh Carr, it was Rockcliffe, it was Ryder, it was Westhoff who had 37 and kick 3 who were dominant. Sam Powell-Pepper 33 as well. Now we'll look at the Balfour SANFL update a little bit later on, but out of those 4, you'd think at least 3 come back in. Not sure they'll bring Ryder back in though.
Well, Rockcliffe might still be sick. Leather poisoning.
He might still
So if he gets over that, he'll definitely be in. But you'd think there'd be some changes. They made some courageous calls the week before. Surely off the back of that performance, there'll be more courageous calls.
Well, Matthew Loken is the coach of the Port Adelaide Magpies. He joined SEN SA Breakfast this morning to chat about just that.
Look, in the conditions, I think 57's 57. It was a horrendous day. It was an absolutely shocking day, one of the worst I've seen. And Tom just did his thing around stoppage and got plenty of the footy. And I think the thing that impressed me, I think he had 12 tackles or something like that as well. So he wasn't just getting on the end of them. Hoff and Paddy and Jared Leanett and Sam Powell-Pepper, the guys that come out of the AFL side a couple of weeks before, were really solid for us. Hoff just sort of ran up and down his wing and the footy kept coming to him and he was really clean. So from our point of view, him getting some confidence and playing well and hitting the scoreboard was really important for us, but also for him as well.
Let's take a look at the votes, all thanks to Repco Authorised Service Centre. Repco Authorised Service Centre, your local mechanic with the nationwide backing of Repco. Book your next service at repcoservice.com. 4 players thought Hartlett was the best player. Burn Jones was terrific. Scott Lysett for the 2nd week in a row was awesome in the ruck, and Travis Boak did what Travis Boak has done all year.
You've done very well there. I thought you might have only had 1 or 2 after that performance, but you've got 4 in. I'm happy with that.
It dropped off pretty badly.
Just to touch... Did it? Yeah. There's only 4 on the whole ground. Yeah. Lucky there was no more. Speaking of attitude, good that those 3 that went out of the AFL team went back for Port Adelaide Magpies and performed really well. That's attitude at its best.
No doubt, and Matthew Loken actually lauded that as well. So terrific performance, and you'd think they'll be rewarded with selection in the showdown this week. Huge Footy SA still to come. Bernie's going to take a close look at the Crows next. Welcome back to Footy SA, doing it all thanks to Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year warranty, and OTR, who are making life easy. One player who was terrific for Adelaide, and to be fair, he has been all year. Thought Rory Sloane had a terrific all-round game on Friday night. He just does everything well. There's not a weakness in his game, Bernie, and he was terrific with 30 disposals again.
Yeah, he does. Like you said, he does everything. He runs offensively, defensively, he tackles, he has clearances, he finds the footy, he kicks goals. He's almost the perfect footballer.
Yeah.
You can build a team around players like that.
Are you surprised that more teams don't tag Rory Sloane? I know the Crouch brothers get plenty of it, but he has historically struggled with the tag over the journey.
Yeah, well, there was that patch of time where everyone was tagging Sloane because when he was quiet, you'd beat the Crows. So, yeah, I don't know why, but teams have gone away from that now. So, not a lot of teams do have taggers. That's one thing probably, but they may need to go back and have a look at that because, yeah, if you keep Sloane quiet, generally you beat the Crows.
To be the first one I'd go to, where do you think the Crows are at? They're sitting nicely in the 8. They've got a favourable draw coming up, and if they beat Port Adelaide in the showdown, are they a realistic top 4 threat? And are they a threat to the premiership?
I think they're certainly a top 4 threat. Whether they're a threat for the premiership, they're probably going to have to win a big final interstate, which makes it very hard. So, I mean, they need some luck along the way, but their run home is okay. So, not that you want to look too far ahead than this week, because it's a tough game this week, bouncing
You're
back.
You're talking like a player. Mate, you're retired now. You don't have to say one
Sorry,
week
they'll win the flag. They'll win the flag.
There you
Don't
go.
worry, pull the season now.
To do that, they'll need to tidy up a few areas. These were the errors that sort of cost them on Friday night. So there was a lack of opportunity, but also some of their ball use was poor. Let's roll the vision of Adelaide on Friday night and some of the errors that didn't go their way. And this here, you just got a man.
That's poor.
That's simple things, isn't it?
I was sitting at home watching that and I was thinking, this isn't a good look. They've got off to a great start. Why give up a goal there? That goal carried the line by a metre and he gained 5 by playing on with no one on the mark. So, yeah,
fumbles, Galucci's off, Douglas was off, Gibbs was off, so there's plenty of room for improvement.
Yeah, well, you're talking about where's the room for improvement. Players like that getting informed, there's the improvement, but they need to be informed if they're going to be a top 4 threat, as we mentioned before. So need to get them informed.
The other dilemma for Don Pyke, I think, this week is, and it's a good problem to have, O'Brien was terrific again, probably got shaded by Blixars when he went into the ruck, but Sam Jacobs is a 3-time showdown medalist. He's won 3 of them. He loves showdowns. It's going to take a brave coach to leave him out this week. It is, and
it's a really tough one now. I'm leaning towards O'Brien playing because he's in form and he's going well. A bit like Sloane, he follows up and he tackles and he gets clearances and kicks goals. He's kicked another goal on the weekend. So really tough call for the coaches this week.
Let's have a look at your votes from this week. Let's see how Bernie judged it. Did the 5 get them? It's for Repco Authorised Service Centre, of course, your local mechanic with a nationwide backing. Just log on to repcoservice.com. Bernie Vince, how did you see it?
Well, we touched on Sloaney before. He was my best for the Crows on the weekend, and Seasman with 28 and 2 goals had his best game for the year, but couldn't quite knock Sloaney off with 9 clearances and 6 tackles for Sloaney. And O'Brien was in there, 18 possessions, but that follow-up stuff, the 6 tackles, he had 6 clearances himself. Very good. It's going to be hard to knock him out this week. And Alex Keith, I thought, was very good with 17 possessions and 7 marks, and a lot of those marks were intercept marks, and he's been very good at that all year.
Not a lot of movement with the leaderboard. Crouch from Sloane, Boat just in there, the only Port Adelaide player. Crouch and Keith was pretty good on the weekend. Well, it's a sharp-looking Nathan Brown in the studio for Sportsbet for all matches this Thursday and Friday. If your team goes 12 up at any break, get paid out as a winner. Conditions apply. Gamble responsibly, Nathan.
Thanks very much, Kane. As you know, most of these games in the showdown are very, very close. As we bring the odds up for the showdown, Adelaide are the favourites. They probably deserve to be favourites. Port Adelaide pretty ordinary last week. I thought Adelaide were really good for at least 2.5 quarters against the Cats. And the plus line last week, we had a lot of people punting on the plus line. This is where it is, 1-39, either Adelaide or Port Adelaide. They've been relatively close. I think one of the last 5 has been a bit of a blowout, but everything has been in that 1-39 market. And the showdown medal, I've got 2 pages of showdown medals here. Brad Crouch and Sloane are the favourites along with Boak. So that's about where it is. Matty Crouch there at $9. But over the pages where you start to get a bit better value, Tommy Rockcliffe, 57 odd touches. You'd have to think he plays.
He doesn't play for the Crows, though.
We should have checked that just before we came on air. But Just, jump us up there. You know what I'm talking about, people, don't you? Hey, I'm going to go with Tommy Rockcliffe. He's going to get 57 from the Crows. Yeah. Okay, and in the Brownlow Mill, Tim Kelly is now the outright favourite by a long way. $5 to Neil and Fife. Fife might have got votes, and then Brad Crouch at 41. Still value. He wouldn't have got votes on the weekend, though. And the Premiership market, the Cats have firm. West Coast have been around the same. Adelaide at 15, and then you got Port Adelaide at 51. But tip for the showdown for the punters out there?
Well, I'm going to tip Port Adelaide and Dan Houston as a roughie for the showdown medal.
Oh, I think Adelaide and Alex Keith.
I'll go Adelaide as well. Brad Crouch.
Travis Boken to $15 for the Brownlow. He's come in a fair way. Brownie, outstanding. We'll speak to you next week. Plenty more coming up on Footy SA. We're doing it all thanks to the barista-made C coffee. Pop into your local OTR and grab yourself a nice hot coffee. Thanks for staying up and tuning in to Footy SA, all thanks to Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year warranty, and OTR for their 24-hour convenience. Well, big results in the Sandful over the weekend. It's time now for our Balfour's Sandful update. Buy a Balfour's Pie for a Sandful ticket. And unfortunately for poor old Joshy Carr, he came up against a stacked Port Adelaide side, Bernie. Yeah,
it was just an unlucky week for him. Probably the weather was the only thing that saved that from being a really big blowout. But the pleasing thing for me was Rockcliffe, 57 possessions. Westhoff, that's funny to say, isn't
57.
it? I thought that was a typo. Yeah. Westhoff, 3 goals and 37 possessions. Pepper had 33. Ryder kicked 2 goals. So the guys that went out of the side went back and performed, which is a really good sign of their attitude.
Yeah, buy a Balfour's Pie for a Sandful ticket. Jump online and head to balfours.com.au. Massive showdown. We're going to count you down to it, showdown 47. Tune into SEN SA all week. But Rory Sloane faced the media with Port Adelaide's Tom Jodas this week, and he wants to review this week but then move on pretty quickly to the showdown.
We've still got to review the Geelong game and get some learnings out of that, because our performance wasn't up to scratch either. So look, always wary of Port, especially in showdowns. I mean, you go back across every showdown, so they're always brutal games, they're always tough games. And you know it's going to be hot because both teams, there's a bit of pride on the line, South Australia pride on the line, and that's why we love playing them, because they are that finals-like atmosphere.
Can't wait for it. Saturday, Twilight Footy's going to be massive. If you missed any of the best bits of tonight's show, download the SEN app. Just get it on your phone. Hit your station. It's magnificent. All the latest news and all the shows that you can listen to for Showdown Week. Bernie, you've tipped the Crows. No surprises.
We're having a bet on this? Or, yeah. Maybe you do your shirt off next week. Host with your shirt off when we beat Port Adelaide.
And you've got to do 20 push-ups with your shirt off.
I can't do that.
Right there. See you next Monday.